to another episode of the Straight Shooter Show. My name is Todd Braley.
And I'm Itai Guberman.
And today we got a treat for you. We have the makers and producers and animators. We're talking animation quite a bit today. The film Weight of Guilt. Now, I'm not going to tell you too much about it, but I'm going to let our guests talk about it. So if our guests could just introduce themselves here.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Justin Bourne Boring.
Tracy.
Somebody else going to go?
Okay, that's all you're going to say? Okay. Tracy Allen, co-owner of pophorror.com, as well as what we've done for the video.
And I'm Joseph Rodriguez, and I did the animation, and that was pretty much it. Yeah, animation side of it.
Awesome. Well, thanks you guys for coming on today and talking to us here. So, if who wants to explain their film? I have a whole bunch of questions, but they're all behind the scenes questions. So I feel like we should kind of start with what your film is about. So who wants to talk about that?
Justin does.
Okay. So, I did the art direction. I wrote the screenplay with Tracy. She had originally written the story. And like I've said before, you know, we're good friends online and chatting and talking things up. And I was sniffing around for a project, and she was like telling me about this little thing she was writing. You know, we were both big Bill fans, big Bill Oberst Jr. fans, and she's like, I'm writing this little zombie thing. You know, I see Bill doing it. And this and that. And I was like, oh, cool. Well, send that to me. Let me read it. No. I couldn't. It's not finished. It's rough. It's, you know, this and that. No, come on, send it over. So she sent it, and I read it. I loved it. It was great. There's a whole lot more to it. Also, we just took basically a scene, a segment out of it that's open-ended, and developed that into a script. And she had all this great narration for Bill, really gave him a platform to let loose. And we put it into a screenplay. I did some storyboards for it. I did the character design, the backgrounds and stuff. And that was when we had two other animators on board. And they weren't really what we were looking for. They were, one of them was too cartoony. The other one had a life disaster and just, could not produce. Nice guy, decent animator, but it wasn't there. And just by chance, Joseph and I were already friends on Facebook, but I didn't know him. We sort of passed each other some on the
Joseph?
threads.
Right here, sir.
He's the guy with the hat.
That's the guy.
That's a good question. Justin, do you want me to jump in real quick? Or
yeah.
Explain my side for sure.
Yes, please.
And so when did we get in contact? It was around February, right?
Mm-hmm. On John Roysland had a thread that we were interacting on.
That's how it was. I had just finished a short, and it took me around 4 weeks to get it done. And it was at the beginning of January that I had started prepping it in December. And then I got it done. I was able to post it. And because of that, they were able to, view it. And I think that's how I really got a hold of Justin that way, which was just perfect, because I had just finished it and I was like, I'm ready for something else. And he was like, I got a project. And I was like, yes, I'm ready. This is perfect.
Give it to me.
Joseph, is that the short that you're talking about, the short that you released just before?
Yes, it's called Atone, and it's I
saw that. Yeah, that's great.
Oh, thank you, sir. Yeah, it was a quick little piece that I had been knocking around my brain all of last year, 2021. I was working on a trilogy of music videos for a band, and that kind of fell through. I did the first one, and I was like, I can't I can't do 2 more. It's burning me out. And so after I jumped off, I was like, I really just want to get something out of the way, because I had spent a whole year doing one video, and I was like, I can do it quicker. I know I can. And that's what Atone was, something to just get out of the way, see what I can do quickly. And it's opened an awesome path to meet, Tracy and Justin for sure.
Yeah, it has some kind of similarities, I guess, to Weight of Guilt in the atmosphere. It's really really cool. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, when I first saw it, I was blown away. I it's very desert, Atone, post-apocalyptic. You got these robots and stuff. It was awesome. It caught me right away, and I was like, instead of sand, we have snow.
Let's make it twice as hard.
It's totally different. Yeah, right. All white.
No, for sure.
Yeah, and I actually, that's the link I saw it on was Roisland's link that he had posted up, and I was like, that's the guy. I remember seeing you had posted a few stills.
Yes.
Before the video, and I was like, man, that looks awesome. I wish our animators were that good.
Joseph's over there going, no.
And then the light bulb moment.
No.
Yeah. And then it kind of, went into the atmosphere, and then he released Atone, and I was like, I got to get this guy. And he was talking on the thread with Roisland. I knew Roisland, so I dived in, and I was like, hey, gee. Yeah. He's like, who's this guy?
That's great.
I have a project.
I was like, I got money. He's like, let's do it.
I have to say,
that was the real choice.
Very good choice.
I wanted to ask Tracy, how did you come up with the idea? I know you guys took just a section, what you were saying, Justin, that you took a section, but just out of curiosity, I'm curious from Tracy where she came up with the idea.
Explaining it does kind of give, it doesn't really give a spoiler. All right. What I wanted to do is I wanted to combine subgenres. I wanted to figure out a way to take 2 different horror subgenres and combine them together in a way that I had never seen before. And this story developed out of that. And like Justin said, Bill had always been in my mind as the person narrating and the person speaking, and the character even kind of looks like him. So when we were actually able to get him to do the narration and the character, I mean, it just tied everything all together with the beautiful animation and the story. Everything just came together.
Yeah, when I initially, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Just when I had initially read it, I mean, it had some great scenes that really got you. So, some were still in development or whatever, but I mean, the idea was there, and we keep dancing around the twist, and and the
it's
big
all
reveal.
good. It's all good. We want people to watch it, so.
But
keep dancing.
I mean, it was a great idea, and I love the idea of mixing the genres. You got. See, the way I see it is, you can do a zombie animation, cool, but what are you bringing new to it? What's the different thing that you're bringing to it?
Right.
And she brought it, it was right there. I was like, sweet. I was like, this is what we're doing, man. And then, a year and a half with these other 2 animators, and then 3 months with you, Joseph? Not that I'm hating on the other
Not even, man. Not even.
Yeah. I'm not hating on the other animators. The one guy was a good
not
friend
at all.
of mine. I went to art. Well, he went to art school with me. He's a nice guy. I've known him 30 years. He used to work for Ren and Stimpy and did a bunch of animations there.
Oh, okay.
It was too cartoony, and I did like it, and we were, for a while there, we entertained the idea of maybe the absurdity of it would embellish it, but it wasn't there. Our other producer, Brad Beef Tip Tillerson, he's the shot caller. He's the shot caller. And he was like,
we call it the sugar daddy.
Yeah.
No, I definitely met him once. He was scary for sure.
Oh, terrifying.
Yes.
Absolutely.
When we got Joseph to do some character designs and stuff, I mean, it was spot on. It's just what we wanted. He's like, how much material you got? And I was like, well, here's some storyboards. Here's a screenplay. Here's a character design, all this crap. And what I'm really impressed with is he's got his style and his flavor in it, but he still retained a little bit of my love, which I was pleased with, and kept the colors just the way we wanted them. I mean, he straight up professional, man. I mean, Tracy and I.
It definitely shows. It does.
Yeah. I mean, when I was watching it, it felt cold. I mean, sometimes when you watch animation, you like the story, you like what you're seeing, but you don't feel what is going on within the scene. If you understand what I'm saying, it was when I watched that, and I watched that thing 3 times in a row. With somebody will go, well, I watched it 10 times, but to me, it was when I watched it, when it was over, it was one of those. I just hit replay, and then when it was over again, I hit replay again. It was
for lack of another episode.
Exactly. You ever watch a movie
if there
when
were
you're
more,
sitting
I would
there
just click episode 2, episode 3.
You're wishing that the outcome was different, no matter how many times you watch the movie. You sit there and you go, maybe it'll change this time. But it was really, and you felt the cold. You felt the winter. You felt the snow, and it was the animation. As somebody who grew up wanting to work for Disney. And it was really good. And I encourage everybody, and we'll have the link available in the description for everybody to watch it. But it was just awesome. It was really good.
Man.
Yeah. So
I gotta give a shout out to Bill too. Bill Oberst. I mean, dude, that voice, you say you felt the cold. Half of that was that voice too, man.
Yeah.
It's something that is probably not talked about enough as far as Bill's voiceover work.
Yeah.
Even from Gothic Goodnight, the podcast that he's got, and countless animated films that he's that he's been involved with. He is it's just such a skill. He does it seems effortless anyway with him. And it just works so well. And I think Todd and I, when we talked about it after he watched Weight of Guilt, the word that we both used right off the bat was impressive.
Yes,
because every facet of this is great. It's Bill's voice work, and it's the animation and the writing. Tracy, you did something awesome there, and you just catch like the viewer from that first sentence.
Yeah.
Who cooks for you?
It's
just like, ooh, what's happening there? What's happening? What's going on? You straight away, and it's got subtext in that sort of sentence. But when you move along, when you're writing for one character, it's very, very hard to write subtext because, who's he interacting with, really? So you did really, really well with this one. I thought, it was really, really great to watch. I enjoyed it first go, and then I watched it just at one time, and then I watched it again last night just to kind of refresh my memory, see if I forget anything. But I wanted to watch a second episode. I didn't need to watch it again because I got everything the first time I watched it. I was like, wow, I like it.
That's the end game.
Yeah. Get with it, Joe. So come on, man, get on it.
And that's why
I'm on it right now.
and that's why straight away I thought you guys have something there. More people need to see this. So it's really, really awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're hoping to do a digital comic. I'm working on that. so we're going to try and expand the universe and embellish the characters and have it as a companion to the shorts. If we're able to keep producing them, I think we can. We're going to try. Funding's always an issue, but
it's crowdfunding time.
I'm
That's
not
like a
go ahead.
4-letter word
Tracy.
that has more than 4 letters.
Well, the thing is, it's exactly what we were talking about. I think that this type of project is perfect for crowdfunding because everybody would want to see more.
Well, you're
So
right.
it's like, here you go. We have this episode. You want to see more? Help us out. And I think people will.
You've proven that you can produce something. You've proven that the animation is top drawer. You've proven that the writing, the story is there. The voice, everything is there.
Right.
And I'm with you, Itai. That's when you launch a crowdfund. That's when you're like, give me some money. When we did this, it was a click campaign. We wanted to see how many views we could get. Blown away by that.
Well done.
Yeah, well, and special shout out to you, Itai, and my indie. I mean, sharing that was a big boost to us. We really appreciate it.
It had to be done. I had to try to help push it along.
Well, it's like lighting the fuse, man. I mean, we boosted it on Facebook, and it was like,
Yeah.
It was like,
you notice how well those boost post works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Facebook is garbage, but I mean, we did one.
That was your out loud voice, wasn't it?
Matt Zuckerberg is.
So check us out on our Facebook page.
Face turd. That's what we call it.
Your Facebook page has been deleted.
Can that be the trailer we post on Facebook?
Oh man! Well, shit. They restrict you every 5 seconds. I got banned for 30 days twice for quoting a movie. And it's like,
yeah. Which movie was it?
Day of the Dead.
What was it?
Day of the Dead. And it's when Steele has got Miguel, and Sarah's like, "Let him go, God damn it, or I'll cut you in half."
Yeah.
Banned 30 days. I was like,
wow. Because it's violence.
I got banned for 3 days for posting a picture of Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh my God.
I remember that too.
That was so sad.
Yeah,
I've been lucky. I've never been banned. I've been threatened.
Well, you're not missing much.
Yeah. Except
I've been to Facebook jail.
Try harder.
Yeah, true. Actually, you don't even have to try that hard. That's the thing.
Well, that's it.
Sometimes it's just the most ridiculous things, and it's.
It seems arbitrary, doesn't it? It's like all of a sudden, and then and meanwhile, Facebook is spamming me with porno ads, full penetration. I'm like, but I got banned for saying, a line from a movie. It's like, come on, guys. That's why we're heading to YouTube and TikTok and
and slowly getting up to 20,000 views.
Trying to getting there.
So
hit that
Tracy,
milestone soon.
I have a question for you. Why did you, when you said crowdfunding, you said 4-letter word? What is it about crowdfunding? Because I am not a fan of it either myself, if you're saying you're not a fan of it.
I know, yeah. Not that other people that do it, it's absolutely fine. I have no problem with people that do it. Mm-hmm. But to do it ourselves, we talked about it and we were like, all right, so if we need to figure out how much money we would need to raise to get everything done, plus pay for the perks, plus pay for this. And there was like so many things, and then have the perks made and try to find something new and different that people are going to be willing to want to spend money on. And it was just like, this is not what we're trying to do. Like, all we want to do is put something out there that we love. So that was what we did. And then if somebody wants to, maybe give us money to make more, hey, we'll take it. But you know what I mean? But the crowdfunding idea is just was never in the picture.
Yeah.
We don't like asking, for one thing, we don't like asking for money, but second of all,
I don't know any artists who do. No artists like crowdfunding.
Yeah.
But
it can be successful.
Of course. And actually lately I've seen more successful ones than before, even though, the climate is supposedly, not good for it now, post-COVID or during COVID or whatever. But it's a tool, and it's just one of those things that we have to do to get things done these days, I think, because getting investors is just that much harder. And if you have an audience and the audience wants to see more, they'll help you out.
Well, here's what's good about what we're doing. We've been funding it ourselves. We've been taking small, manageable bites of these shorts that we can comfortably afford, more or less. Lower your prices, Joe. No, I'm kidding.
What's the matter, Joe? You can't work for free? You can't work for free? Come on. What do you mean you got to pay your bills?
This is great exposure for you, Joseph.
That's right. Credits. IMDb credits.
Do you know how many views I get? Do you know how many views I get? You know how many followers I have?
I'm going to say this next part, and if we could really cut this out of the video, I'd be very happy about that. But no, okay, then I got nothing to say. Continue, Justin, by all means.
I will say this. He was very reasonably priced and absolutely worth every penny, and we know that he gave us friend prices. And really went out of his way to make it affordable to us and give us a prime piece of animation. And when I saw Atone, I was like, look, you're coming with us. You're ours.
Yeah, sold.
Nobody.
We own your ass.
No, I wish. No, but in all reality, we're throwing money at him. Like, please, just do it.
Yeah. Let me just say that after this interview, from now on, Joseph, Todd, and I and you are very, very close friends now. So when we approach you to do stuff, we're looking for that friend's price.
We're in an open marriage.
I'm just putting it out there.
Don't you know that it's
friendship? What is it, polyamorous?
Friends make the world go round.
Yeah, we're poly, man. Look, we're poly. Look, we can't hold on to Joseph's shining star and drag him down and this and that. But as long as he always makes time for us, which he has, and
gives us friend prices.
And gives us friend prices.
It just as long as,
then we're good.
Joseph's just going to be like, you know what? Just cut me out of this bitch, all right?
Just put a black square over my screen.
Just put the way to get a poster on this.
Yeah, just leave the hat. Take out everything else. Just put a link to my website.
It's like he can see his income just going.
I think it's actually going the other way.
I'm hoping so. Genuinely.
If people have not seen your work before, we'll put the link to Atone as well.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to see that. I'd love to be able to see that.
Oh man.
Well, and I released another one too after we finished Way to Guilt called The Archway.
Really?
Yeah.
That's also really.
How did I miss that?
I know, it just I dropped it super quick, and I'm
gonna make you start tagging me now.
There you go. No, absolutely. But
that one was really cool.
Now, so he can tag me
a lot.
I'll tag you both and everything.
Right on. You better.
Right on.
So with Weight of Guilt, guys, what's coming up next? Is there going to be is Weight of Guilt the title for the whole thing, or is it just for the episode? For that sort of segment.
Well, the way we had discussed it was, it's Weight of Guilt. whether it's a series, whether it's a feature. We like feature, although the way things are going, we're thinking episodic.
I was going to ask you if you were going to make it a feature or if you were going for episodes. So do both.
Well, Itai's right. What we plan to do is do small, manageable bites of episodes that we can put out there and hopefully garner enough heat to do the feature.
Because I would watch the crap out of both versions. So
yeah. Well, that's the plan. And like I said, I'm always viewing a path to something more, something else. And we did this to see if we could do it. You can
do it.
Well, it was looking a little rocky there at first, but we can do it. We've learned we can do it, and we can fund it ourselves for now. And to go back a little bit, I don't want to go back in time too much, but we have no problem with crowdfunding or anything like that. A lot of my friends do it. They're broke. I'm broke. Everybody's broke.
Aren't we all? Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I feel bad asking friends for money because I feel the obligation on projects too. You're like, oh man, I really want to help them out, And like Tracy said, then you're making T-shirts, then you're making posters, and you got perks and this and that. And it's like the movie never gets made. You become a T-shirt person with your movie title on it. That never happens, So we're not ruling it out, but we are trying to operate without having to do it. If we can get investors and producers behind us, great. In the meantime, we can handle it ourselves, Well,
as long as you guys keep it manageable, I mean, doing it in small chunks, as you were talking about, and you can always take and put, when with all of us are in our day jobs, we can take that little bit and go, okay, that's for the next episode. And that's, you can do that because, it's because it is, you don't have to go out and shoot anything. So, I mean, doing the animation thing is, I've thought of that many times with a couple of things that I've wanted to do.
Yeah.
But never could find anybody, Joseph, to be able to really get those things realized, Joseph. And but no, it's in all seriousness, it's that whole idea of being able to fund it yourselves and kind of keep it simple for you to be able to get it done. It's like, okay, so we've got this money. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do the next episode. So let's call Bill and let's call all these, get these people and say, all right, we're ready to do the next one. So, and with animation, obviously it's going to be a lot easier. I mean, to a point.
Well, I mean,
kind of. Maybe if everybody got really quiet all of a sudden. It was
for everybody else involved except me. But you're absolutely right. No, you're absolutely right. It's
the thing with crowdfunding is from the crowdfunder side, as far as the project, what Tracy was saying before, I think there's that sort of fear in the back of our minds. It's like, okay, we need to get all these perks to people once, but my thinking is always to have those perks ready and just look at everything as pre-sale, as far as crowdfunding, because it would be a good idea for you guys to make shirts anyway and put them up in a store and whatever. So before you do that, they can go, as perks, because people have already paid for them, So you just need to kind of charge a little more. So some of it goes to the movie, and some of it goes to the towards the actual shirts and whatever. And it's the same with DVDs and Blu-rays and all the rest of it that people do.
That seems like a lot of work, man.
Nobody wants to work, damn it.
That seems like a lot of damn work, dude. I'd rather throw money at it and be like, do this shit.
All right, Joseph,
throw money at us.
Go to work.
Hats and,
go to work.
shirts and hats or something.
Yeah.
I like this.
I mean, let's be real. From an indie perspective, almost every indie filmmaker has a store now. How much they move through that store varies, and I think for the majority, it's next to nothing.
Oh, yeah.
But we still make sure that it's there, because you don't need to make the shirts before you make them. They're made according to orders.
Yeah.
So with including them in crowdfunding is just sort of a little bit easy. So it's always about putting up perks that you can manage.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the perks, sometimes it's like, meet the filmmakers, have a Zoom session, or people do all kinds of things like that. And even though it's a little bit of a, maybe a hassle, but for the project, it's worth it as I see it.
Well, it's not that it's a hassle. It's just nobody gives a shit about us.
Well, you'd be surprised. After Weight of Guilt, gets out there, more, you'll have some fans, I'm sure.
Maybe
a couple people will give a shit. Everybody else, nobody else will. But because if you think nobody will, there are always two people.
but those are usually like kind of higher perks, and they're usually like, I don't know, let's say $100 and above. So you just don't have 3, 4, 5 of those available anyway, no more. So the way crowdfunding works these days, it's a lot more manageable.
It is.
But you guys, I think you've hit on something, because a lot of people have already watched it. More people will watch it. I have not heard anyone say anything bad about it. Not one person.
Share, subscribe, comment. Like, share, subscribe, comment.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's always someone who wants to crap all over something somebody's made. I haven't seen that with this project yet.
Well, we've been very fortunate so far. It seems
I would just like to see what bad thing anyone has to say about it. That would be interesting to me. What didn't you like?
No, it's kind of like saying you don't like puppies. It's like, how can you not like puppies? Everybody likes puppies. How can you not like Bill Oberst? Everybody likes Bill Oberst,
No one wants to say anything bad about my stuff, because then they're afraid I'll write something bad
That's
about
right.
it more.
There you go.
Use it.
He wields the power.
I was going to say, she has the weapon. I am going to come after you.
I love it.
So
I think you guys are in a really, really good place with this.
Thank you, Itai. And we're not opposed to. Go ahead.
No, finish your sentence.
I was just going to say, we're not opposed to crowdfunding. We definitely want to do T-shirts and merchandise, up ahead, and to help fund things. We can do it through Redbubble. You can do T-shirts and stuff today. Because honestly, when I crunch the numbers, you go out and get even friend prices on somebody printing up 100 T-shirts and this and that. By the time you've sent them out and gone to the friggin' UPS post office go to my Redbubble.
Get the store to deal with that, and it's all automatic. It's a little bit more expensive, but if people want them, they'll pay. It's just
and
it's
you
indie,
can get you can get it on a variety of products and stuff, and it goes
absolutely
straight to the artist. So, in fact, that's what I did with Jess for Good Things Devils Do.
Show the shirt, Justin.
Flash us. Nice.
Very nice.
Hey, it looks like that guy from Weight of Guilt.
Hey!
What a coincidence.
I've seen him in something else.
So and it worked pretty well. We sold quite a bit of T-shirts and stuff, and it's just easier that way,
So I'm curious. Now you said something about 3 months to get this done. Can we kind of walk everybody through the process and kind of talk about what you did to get the ball rolling, to get this to get the animation itself going? Because I'd really like to hear how you guys did it. I mean, I'm sure for animation, there's always kind of a process that, you record the audio first and whatnot, but I'm just curious to hear how you guys did it, and what and what, if anything, did you maybe do differently that most, if anything, that most animators don't?
Maybe start from the beginning. Tracy, how long did it take to write before you even got to the animation part?
Yeah, there you go.
Well, okay, so it all comes back to Bill Oberst, because he has
Everything
Gothic
does.
Goodnight. Weird how it just keeps coming around. He has Gothic Goodnight in his podcast, and he had said once to me, "Why don't you write a story for it?" I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I started writing this little story, and it just kept growing. I'm like, "You can't read this in 20 minutes or whatever." So then I kind of put it aside, and I didn't think about it. So I probably worked on it for maybe a couple of months, and then just put it aside. And then when I met Justin, he again, both of us being fans of Bill, when he heard that the character was sort of based on him, he was like, "Oh, check that out," So we went from there. Everything was written. We shortened it down to 5 minutes because it is longer. Wrote out
how much longer is it, if you don't mind me asking? I don't think we
called it that for animation.
How much longer is it, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, the full thing, what did we figure out for the full thing? For like the whole thing?
The uncut, what we originally had was easily maybe an hour's worth.
Oh, nice. Okay.
We weren't sure at this point if we wanted feature, if we wanted series. So we tried to ride the fence as much as we could through the middle of that, so we would have the opportunity to go either way if we wanted, depending on what opportunity would present itself. And I'm glad we kept it fluid, because now that we're getting such a great response on YouTube, we can lean more towards the episodic format and keep doing these, and keep the story going. And it's open-ended. I mean, honestly, what's great about this story is it really doesn't have it. It's his story.
It's like an introduction, or even you can look at it as a proof of concept.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's what it started out as, was a proof of concept, and it's just kind of getting this life of its own, which we're really excited about. And we wanted to dip our toe in the pool and see what the response would be before we, if everybody's like, "This is garbage, we hate you." Yeah. Right. Then it's like, oh shit. But just to have that response and that encouragement really gives us the juice to keep going. And we're already working on another thing with Joseph. We went straight from WOG into the next one. We had it all set up. We're like, "Hey."
You've already signed him up into the future.
Yeah, we booked him, man.
Disney style. Marvel style, right?
But that's awesome with the writing. I didn't know that it was that it started off as something for Gothic Goodnight and sort of found its own life from there. What was Bill's reaction to it when he first read it?
You can't really. Bill likes everything.
He's a very positive person. That's what we love about him.
If he does not like something, he will not tell you. So it's really hard to say.
I think he would have told you.
I think he would, yeah.
He would
be encouraging, but he would have told you.
Yeah.
He's a true friend.
But he really, he used a lot of exclamation points, so I thought that was a good sign. But he seemed to like it and get it, which was important, because in my mind as the writer, I'm thinking to myself, am I writing this entire thing? And then people are just like, what? They're not getting what I'm trying to, and then do I have to over explain it? And I have to try to be like, oh, well, this happened because of this. And then I didn't want that. So I wanted to kind of an objective person to read it and see what he thought of it. And he was
Did you even tell him
Justin read it first, though.
Did you even tell him it was him at first? You just let him read it. You didn't tell him it was him.
Yeah, I didn't tell him it was him until we asked him to do the voice. Oh, or actually, it might have been when we first showed him the first character designs, and we were like, "Oh, by the way,
we're stealing your face."
That's you.
Oh, yeah, you better not say no to this project because it's already you.
Because it's already.
Joe's done all the artwork. You're done. You're in, whether you want to be or not.
Thanks, buddy. Sorry, not sorry.
It definitely has that Bill tone, that sort of gothic goodnight kind of thing in that first sentence, that who cooks for you. And it's the way Bill does it. It just kind of draws you in straight away. So it's like a perfect storm. You have the animation and and Bill's image and the writing, and Bill's unique sort of style. It's just like, ooh, I want to see more. I want to see more. It's from the first 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't know who did that, but the score is awesome as well.
Yeah. The music was really good. Who did that?
Was that you, Joseph?
No. We paid a guy to do the
just
sound.
seeing thumbs up. I'm like,
yeah. No, that's good. We paid a guy to do the sound. Oh my God, I'm really Dorian Britton is the guy's name. I worked with him on the tone actually, so he was able to join us for his project. And he did great. He did a good job, and he also mixed it as well. Yeah.
We were really pleased with it.
Absolutely.
Because one of the good things about it is, I mean, it's going to sound negative, but it's not. It's positive. At first, I didn't even notice it.
Yeah, very subtle.
And what it does is it sort of sucked me into that world and put me in there.
It does this.
Yeah,
real.
It creeps in. Yeah,
Yeah,
it draws you into that world. And when I watched it the second time, I actually made a point to listen to it, and I'm like, oh, I can see what he did there. How
awesome.
It went about sort of being invisible, really. But it was always there. So it's awesome. really great work.
Well, and I talked to him about that. I sat down after I talked with Justin. We worked out, the process for the story, and I was like, I need the sound to be present, like you said, but I didn't want it to be something overpowering, something to just set the mood and really you get that sense of the creepy gothic vibes. And I love what he did he added a choir in there, which I didn't ask for, but like it's whenever, well, spoilers, I don't want to say what's happening, but the whole scene where Bill has his moment, his great moment.
I know what you're thinking. Yep.
Yeah. He added a great choir to it. And I was like, oh, that's perfect. Like that it makes it so sad in a way, I love it.
And with that slow burn, when it hits that apex, the scene I'm talking about.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Oh man, it's just it's that cherry on top,
It's
that real quick shout out to the girl who did the voice.
Yeah,
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, the girl who did the voice is almost another thing that I noticed more the second time.
Yeah,
the first time it's like it's there, okay, but it's part of the story, and you're still trying to work everything out, so you don't really focus on certain things. The second time I watched it, I was like, oh yeah, she's really good. That's really. I wonder how old she is, because there's a certain maturity to the understanding of the tone she needed to get across. So yeah, that was really good.
I think she's actually like 7 years old, but like her dad was the one coaching her through it, and she rocked it. Like she got the emotion. Did a fantastic job with it. I loved it. I was like, oh, that's
absolutely.
That McKenna Sorry, I guess. Is that how you pronounce her name? Sorry.
I think so, yeah.
Now,
and who did the dogs?
That was me.
Joseph.
No.
Everybody's now taking credit. I did the barking. I barked.
Well,
that was Bill Oberst, actually.
No. Great. Now Bill's going to get all these requests. Hey, can you do the animal sounds in our show?
Can you do a terrier? How about a bulldog?
A
I
cash
control
money.
Bulldog, damn it. Yeah.
So, hey, Joseph, talk to me a little bit
Yes.
about your the process of creating Bill's character. Yes, it looks like him, but at the same time, there's stuff about it that isn't necessarily Bill as well. Can you just kind of tell me a little bit about creating that character and
Yeah.
how you came up with? I mean, was the dog? I'll ask Tracy this real quick. Was the dog a specific breed in your story, or was that on Joseph?
It was initially like I wanted a tough looking dog.
Okay.
So I didn't want like a poodle or something, but I think in the initial animation, it was in Justin's initial storyboards, it was a bulldog.
Gotcha.
And then, and I liked that like, that was good for me. So I really wanted to carry that picture back through the rest of the story. So,
Gotcha.
So I think, basically Justin, that was Justin.
Okay.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And with doing or designing Bill, it was a lot of fun because, again, Justin did the storyboards for that. And then the other animators, I saw their rendition of that first of Bill. And he looked younger in the way they drew him. But I was listening to his voice and I was like, he's doing a really gruff, really kind of old voice. And he needs to look like he sounds, weathered. Just hearing his voice on his own, I was like, oh yeah, this character's really leathery. It's the best way to describe that. But man, it was a lot of fun, just like, because I got to see, Justin's designs again for what he was wearing. And it informed me because like Justin made him look like a fun kind of action hero. He had like a really cool jacket with the stripes. And I was like, it made me feel like when this all happened, he was a young guy and he'd been doing it for so long that he didn't change clothes. And so that's kind of my thought process, is like, he's wearing stuff that he's had for years and it's all worn and old. He had it when he was young and now he's an old guy and he's not having fun. Zombie apocalypse is no longer a fun deal for him.
Right.
But it was taking those elements when I was drawing it. And then we talked about, the sad nature of the film. And when I was sketching it, I just didn't want to draw the eyes at first. And so I did just a black shading on it. And I was like, that's kind of fun.
I love that, by the way.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I have that on my list of questions, but I'll let you guys finish.
Yeah, I thought that might
talking.
be almost spoiler territory. That's why I haven't mentioned that.
Oh, well.
No, you're fine.
It's not. I don't feel it is.
It took me a certain direction.
Yeah.
And then, we found out that might not be it.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
I loved it. So that was a choice then that you guys made.
I thought he might be blind.
Joseph. That was all Joseph, man. I mean, really.
I thought in the beginning, I thought he might be blind.
Oh, okay.
Damn,
So
that's good.
that's a good
We
idea.
do,
I like that.
We do.
The cane, the dog, the black eyes.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if he is or isn't, but I'm going to keep that sort of in the back of my mind, see if that is a thing.
That would have been a cool reveal.
So yeah.
No, I like that.
Well, who says he wasn't?
Oh, right. Well, and it was, as I was sketching it, because we had talked about the influences for the style, and we had mentioned Mike Mignola and Hellboy. And so as I was sketching it, I was thinking of how he draws characters in shadow all the time, and he doesn't color in their eyes. So I was like, let me just try that, and then it fit the mood where I was like, oh, he looks depressed. Like this is where we're going with it.
Right.
But then it got to that point in the story, and I was like, man, I'd love to see his eyes for just a minute. Like that would be.
It makes that moment sort of all the more impactful.
Yeah, that was huge for me. I mean, that was like in watching that, it was just like, yeah.
Well, that
was the first time I watched it, I went, oh yeah, there you go. I mean, it was definitely it felt kind of weird applauding to myself, but it was but it was
There's
cool.
nobody
It was
around here.
nobody else cares. All right. Well, I do.
Well, it was that two-tier of crescendos, those eight.
Yeah.
You had the first one, which is really cool, and and then you have the next one, and it's like the perfect sandwich, It's got all the right layers at all the right time, and a lot of people after that first crescendo, you wonder, well, where are you going to go from here?
Right.
Surely that's the end. But no.
And also, why didn't he do it? Like, what's wrong with this guy? Why did he?
Yeah, come on, man. Absolutely. If you know zombies, you know what comes
Haven't
next.
you seen all the movies to kill them?
If you not
that's
watch
the thing.
The Walking Dead.
There's a lot of sort of bits and pieces there that are inspired by the genre. The sort of zombie post-apocalyptic genre, even specifically. Actually, I was going to say not The Walking Dead. I was going to say Fear the Walking Dead. But there's a certain character that comes from The Walking Dead that, it took me back to that straight away. But it's like, it's inspired by that a little bit, but it's not that, And
Absolutely.
that's kind of what I liked about it. And when we talk about subtext, I think, Joseph, you just mentioned, about how old he might be or how long he's been doing it. And there are certain things in there that give you sort of hints to that, like the store that he walks into and the state of it. And it's all there for us to see without having to tell us. It's a show, don't tell. And that's what I like about, the script and the way you guys made it come to life,
Well, thank you. Yeah. And it was cool because like I started working on it, and then I think halfway through it, Tracy was like, "You want to read the full thing that we have for this segment?" I was like, "Of course, yeah. Like, I'd like to see where it was." And it morphed from what she had written to where, like, because you see it, and it's such a solitary short. He's so alone, which I like. But in the one that they wrote, there's definitely more people in the world. And so if we did expand this, I'd love to see that. I'd love to see other survivors, see if they're in the same state that he's in. You know what I mean? Like, what is their thought process? Are they like him? Are they not? You know what I mean? It's all those questions really, it helps whenever I'm creating it, because I'm thinking of all that. Like, okay, what's the world like? What are they doing?
Well, to me, being an avid sort of film fan for however many years, some would say buff, and being a filmmaker and writer, that line again, it says so much, that who cooks for you thing. For me, it also told me there are other people, because I knew he was going to use that line with people sometime down the line. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to see that. Who are these people? Why haven't they met yet? What's going on there? What's their situation?
Give me
Who's he going to
more.
meet along the way?
Yeah. Well, what's interesting there is from what Tracy is, from some of her expanded material and what we've been discussing recently about a next episode, we do introduce another person. And what I really liked about her story was there's always the tropes in zombies and stuff, zombies are bad, but people are worse,
Right.
The real evil are the people,
The Walking Dead are not the zombies, they're the people.
Yeah. Which is cool. I mean, I'm not.
It's very cool, especially the first time it was made. That was
100 years ago. So what are we bringing fresh to it? What are we bringing fresh to it?
I agree.
And the interaction. I don't want to give anything away on that, but the interaction is really priceless. It's it's not what you would expect, and I'm excited about it.
Well, that's the thing. We don't know so much. It's almost like we don't know more than what we do know after watching, the short.
And that's
what I love about it. Absolutely.
That's how you hook them, yeah.
Well, and that was why I watched it 3 times and kind of expecting.
Maybe I can find more in there. Maybe there's something in the frame. I don't know. I gotta keep looking.
Trying to milk more out of the stone.
It's like, come on. Give me another one.
Even now, you know, there are some things that I could say, and I'm constantly thinking, it's not exactly spoiler, but I don't want people to know this. I want people to watch this fresh.
Yes, watch it.
So,
watch it.
Yeah, but there are so many elements in it that I'm guessing it could be this, or that, but I don't know. We'll see when we get there.
Right.
You know, and I don't mind waiting till we get there. So it's like, I want to see more.
Well,
I'm
based
impatient.
on
I want to know now.
All right, here's how it goes. No.
The end. Thank you.
Well, the response we have has encouraged us to continue with it. Like I said, we were going to dip our toe in the pool, see what's up. And since hitting 20,000 in a little under 2 weeks or over, I don't know, is really encouraging. And so we're like, okay, we need to, and everybody's, come back to us, we need more. What happens? How did it start? How does it end? So these are what we want. This is the response we want, so that when we start dropping other episodes, boom, you're going to have that viewership. You're going to get more subscriptions. And like I said, right now, Tracy and I can afford to fund it ourselves. And we are building that fan base, so we can get into the t-shirts and other stuff. And in fact, we're working on something new. We needed a palate cleanser after Weight of Guilt. So we're already into the next one. Look at Joseph's eyebrows. He's excited.
It excites me. I'm excited for it. I am.
We have this on this side of the spectrum. Now we're going over here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just make sure that those two get somewhere along the line, because having it in that sort of not necessarily the same universe, but can be the same universe, that is worth something.
Well, the next thing we're doing, it's called I Am Worthless.
Worthless,
and,
with the less than
sign. I hate to remember. Thank you. It's we're really excited about, and like Tracy was saying, we're trying to show our range here. We're exploring, our creative sides and stuff. And Tracy and I have always had a real passion for mixing genres, mixing it up a little. Like I said, it's all about freshness. It's all about freshness. What are we doing that? I mean, it's hard to do something that nobody's done, but
it's not easy. But as I keep telling people, it's still doable.
Yeah, it's still doable. And honestly, if you're too focused on that, you're going to wreck the whole train.
Yeah, but, you pull your hair out. Well, you already did, Justin, but
you're
but Tracy's the only one with hair around here.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm second in line, but yeah, I get, literally. I mean, you could pull your hair out. You're thinking in that realm of well, God, somebody's already done that. Well, I don't know if I want to do it. And then it's like, screw it, just do it.
Well, Tracy's had to, and Jess too. Jess Norvestar, I got to give him a shout out again. Both of them are my anchor. They're like, dude, reel it in, brother. What did I call you back? I shit the bed on this one project, man. Actually, it was worthless. But I was like, we're going to change everything. And that's never a good start to something. So we're changing everything. It's all different. And Tracy's like, all right, I'll hear you out. So and Jess too, I ran it past both of them. And at the end, they're both like, no.
Yes, you're cute, but no.
Yeah.
Initially, we were gonna film it.
Yeah.
So Justin's like, this guy's gonna come riding in on a tank, and this guy's gonna be, there's like things are blowing up and everything's going on, and it was just like, ooh, dollar signs, ding, 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 ding. No, I don't think that's gonna work.
Well, and
nice try, Justin.
Yeah, so it's like I Am Worthless, the Justin Bourne Boring story.
Yeah. That's after
You're out. You're out.
Ouch.
No.
Ouch.
Everybody poops. Well, here's the thing. We had the original story that was really good, and we were going to make some changes to it anyway. You have a wild night. You're like, oh my God, this is the best shit I've ever thought up in my life. And then you're like, okay, it's got to pass the friend litmus test. And your friends, if they're good friends, they're like, dude, come on, man.
No.
That is crap.
Stop.
We love you, but that is shit.
Well, no, it wasn't crap. It just wasn't
I'm joking.
correct for the story. But so then I went back.
About that was crap.
It's Scottish.
That's hurt my feelings.
But I went back to the roots of it and got my fucking head screwed on and came up with something really, really good, and when I brought it back to them, they're like, okay, there you go. There
Crappy
you
ideas.
He patted him on the head and told him, good job.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good now.
He's back.
Hey, Ty, Jess, how he is. He's like, dude, what the are you thinking, man?
Yeah. He's not going to sugarcoat it.
No, Tracy's much more diplomatic. She's like, well, okay.
No.
Okay. And Jess is like, dude, you shit the bed, man.
Yeah. No, look, crappy ideas are part of the process. I think that we we all have a ton of them, that have ended up, on the not cutting room floor, but all these crumpled up pieces of paper that you see in movies. I mean, now we do it all on the computer, but it's like a lot of stuff. Most stuff has been deleted.
I just ruin monitors when I do that.
Oh yeah.
But it's part of the process. Sometimes if you don't have the not so good ideas, you're not going to get to the good ideas. So
you're not wrong. And actually, some of the ideas from that hot mess before, I actually brought into the new version, and it worked. It fit. Everything was good, and we got back on track. And that's and actually after that, we took a breath. We put it away for a little bit, focused on WOG, Weight of Guilt, and then Weight of Guilt started to get to the end, and Tracy and I were like, well, what are we going to do next? We thought about it. Do we want to do more Weight of Guilt? Do we want to see how that goes? And I was like, well, we have this script, and she's like, yeah, send that to me one more time. So, read it one more time. Okay, it's the right one. Yes, let's do it. And I condensed it some, did some character designs and everything, and approached Joseph about it. He was just wrapping up Weight of Guilt. Told him about it, and he's like, yeah, man, he was all into it. So
it's going to be really fun.
It
really
is
bombastic. I'm excited.
There's just so much stuff that can, come out of this, as far as, that whole universe and more episodes, and if you look at it as a feature or an episodic, or it's just, it's there's no limits here, and the one thing that, like you guys were talking about, it's like, it's not even with originality. It's not even to avoid the cliche. It's just to be able to see it and turn it on its head. So it's like, you can go anywhere you want with this, as far as, stories in the same universe, or keeping this story going and telling us, how we got here and what's coming and all the rest of it. It's just, there's just so many options.
Well, and I mean, that we're just trying to pull that curtain open, and start kind of small, start kind of
in that messenger chat you and I had about it, Justin, we were talking about it. As we were talking, I'm like, my head's going, oh my God, You could go there. You could do this. You could do that.
Oh, yeah.
All right. If you need ideas, talk to me. I already have a million.
Yeah.
Okay. I should never watch stuff like this. Yeah.
That's the benefit of an episodic thing, and we do want to keep it going. We want to. Now, I Am Worthless is honestly, it could go either way. It could go feature, it could go series. I've written so much that it wouldn't be terrible to go series with it. I think it would be very successful as a series. We built it, Tracy and I, as a franchisable, long story that we could get a lot of mileage out of. Same with Weight of Guilt, and we loved Weight of Guilt, but that doesn't mean that everybody's going to love Weight of Guilt. So we wanted to wait and see what was up. Now that we know everybody loves it.
Well, they do. They do.
Yeah.
I mean, I never would have thought that we'd get that many views in that short of time. And I'm blown away. We're still trying to put our heads around it. But our aim is definitely more episodes of Weight of Guilt and more with Worthless and other projects. This is our gateway. This is how we put our stuff out there into the world. And
well, this brings me to a question that just popped into my head, because what you're saying has a lot of similarities to my project Revelation, where I released a segment of it as a short film first to test the water, and that was Ivy, which was very successful.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love Ivy. I finally watched it. Very nice.
Thank you. Do you guys have any desire or plans to go the festival route with this?
Oh yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. We totally forgot that. Tracy submitted it to like 100 animation festivals.
Like 12.
You can submit it to horror festivals.
Felt like 100.
Oh yeah,
it felt like 100.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be animation festivals, but yeah.
No. In fact, we were looking at the parameters of a lot of festivals that were open to it. And we got scared with Worthless because we're like, well, it's a trailer. So are we going to be able to submit it to these things? And all the animation festivals were like, yeah, we've got either a category for trailers or even just festivals that are just for animated trailers. So we're definitely going that route. And
because that's a really good way of testing what you have. You see,
absolutely,
how many selections you get and how many awards, if at all. But it's one of those things. I had some expectations, I think, when I sort of let Ivy out into the world, and then the thing is, it surpassed my expectations, and shortly after that, I was like, okay, I have to shut this down. No more festivals. I got my answer. I need to get back to working on the feature. So yeah, it's a great test.
Oh yeah,
and I think with the views already, I think you're getting some answers there. So
absolutely, and I like now YouTube bothers me a little bit. Their new way with you can't curse on YouTube if you want to monetize, which is a real bummer. We can skirt the violence and horror issues with animation. That's what's great about animation, man. You can get away with that stuff, You can, and we're going to get away with it. And I Am Worthless because it goes balls to the wall, man. It's bloody. It's visceral. It's fun. I'll let it
there's so many other places that you can put stuff up on that, YouTube is not the end all be all. As long as you can direct people to those other because
you got Venmo and Venmo and others, so they're coming
Vimeo,
out, and I just want to leave Facebook. It's a waste of time. It really is, man. I mean, you get caught up in this echo chamber, and I don't know, man. I'm sitting there, time I could be spending on a project or something. I'm posting pictures of farting pandas and stuff. It's like, what's important here?
farting pandas is important, man.
I agree.
Pandas do get gas.
But I do like Facebook. We all talk on Facebook. For that, it's fun and worthwhile. I met Joseph, all of you on Facebook, honestly.
Yeah. If not for Facebook, we probably wouldn't have met. That's crazy. Yeah.
It's got its purpose, and it's fulfilled that purpose. And now we should turn on it and eat it alive, and all go to a different platform. But
if there was only one that worked in a similar way, yeah.
I know. I can't drive Twitter like I can drive Facebook, and but what are you going to do? I mean, these are the slings and arrows we brave in order to do what we do. And I hate on Facebook a lot, but I do keep in touch with a lot of great people like you guys, and it does perform that wonderful function. So in that, I am grateful of Facebook as a promotional tool. Not
that
so
is
much.
so true. We are great people.
You are.
When you start doing the creating the animation, I mean, do you draw? I mean, are you doing stuff via digital pen and all that? Can you just kind of tell us a little bit about what you do to create the animation?
Yeah, absolutely. I use a method called puppeteering or rigging. So I'm not drawing it frame by frame, although I can. But I draw everything in a program called Clip Studio Paint. It's like Photoshop for artists.
Okay.
And it's great. And I bought a bunch of custom brush pen tools to make it look very old and authentic, because everything I do is digital,
Right.
But it helps it have that real nice kind of, homespun feel with real grimy, grungy brushes, which is what I love to use. But then once I draw it, and like everything I have to make is in layers. So that's the only thing that's like a little nauseating to do it. If I want a character and his arms got to move, the hand is its own layer, and it's in a folder that's separated by like 4, right? So you have the outline, you have the color, and then you have gradients, and that's for every part of his body that's going to rotate. And then I bring it into a software called Moho, and it's amazing. It's beautiful, and it's a little indie kind of underground software, I would say. Like there's one movie that I can think of that used it, and it was it's called Song of the Sea, and it's like an Irish company that uses this software exclusively almost, because it's not industry standard, but it should be, because it's beautiful. And I use that, and I like bring in my work as a Photoshop document, put some bones on it, and real detailed bone structures for the characters, and move them that way, so it's really intricate puppets almost. Yeah, but it's cool because it allows me to like get more shots done. I can do it quicker than if I was just frame by frame, each shot takes a little too long.
Cell animation.
Yes. Yeah. I'm all about efficiency,
Right.
Because with this, it's like I was able to make it look complicated on screen, because that's the trade-off, right? Is if you do frame by frame, you tend to keep the form simple because you're redrawing it over and over. Or if you're making it super complicated, it doesn't move at all. You know what I mean? It's just a little cutout that kind of bobs. But this is a nice happy medium of the in-between of you get motion, and then you get something that looks super detailed, which is fun.
Well, I didn't feel like you sacrificed any quality
thank you.
with that. And I understand some of that speak. I work largely digital myself. I do Photoshop and this and that. And yeah, man, it's all about time management. Good Lord.
Yes. No, absolutely.
Oh my God.
That's the thing, animation used to, to make a 5-minute short like this one would have taken some people, a year or two.
Yeah.
You guys
we know
over fairly quickly. I'm talking about just the animation part, not even everything. So
for sure.
Us too.
Technology has really taken us to a place where you can actually turn them over a lot quicker. And the beautiful thing about the animation here, it's like these days I find that I'm not a massive animation buff or anything like that. I like animation, but I don't really, I haven't delved that deep into it. I'm not, a manga expert or anything like that. But the thing I find that a lot of animation these days, it's like people are trying to make it more and more realistic. So it's almost, where people are talking about replacing actors and all that bullshit. But what I like about Weight of Guilt is it looks like animation, which if I'm watching an animated film, I want it to look like animation. I don't want it to look like a real actor, So this is like it's a Bill's image. Exactly.
I'm with you 100% on that. It drives me crazy. Even in the art world, this artist, he paints photorealistic. Well, what's the point in painting? Take a picture.
That's right. Take a photograph.
Yeah, that's right. It's
one thing. Well, the one thing what I really liked is like when the character was sitting there and his things were blowing in the wind and it looked like it was blowing in the wind,
Oh, nice.
I mean, it wasn't, and this is not a hit on anime at all, because this was kind of a cross between like anime and complete digital, almost, I don't know, just for lack of being able to think of something quicker, Pixar kind of thing. So it was, it kind of has a 3D feel to it, but at the same time, it's still that cool 2D animation and the clothes blowing, and there were just the attention to detail on it for me was really I looked at it and went, wow, man, well, look at that. It's like, I'm probably going to go watch it a couple more times after we're done, just so I can
absolutely,
so I can find, because it's cool, because it's, you're looking at it, pardon my hand motions here, but you're looking at it, to watch it first, and then you watch it again so you can see what you missed, and then you watch it again because you're hoping there's going to be more, but there's not. So you watch it for something else.
Just for fun.
Yeah. But that was what was cool about it.
We get it. Keep watching.
And to me, in all seriousness, I just kind of feel like there's going to be more to see. I mean, yeah, it's 5 minutes, but in that 5 minutes, you guys, there's so much going on that it again, attention to detail on certain things was you could tell there was a thought process that went into it. You just didn't go, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to go make an animated film, and then we're going to just do this and this, throw this stuff in here, and there you go. You guys, there was a lot of care and a lot of love that went into the animation in that, and the story and everything else. So I was just really, I'm still impressed. Can you tell?
No,
I'm just,
definitely.
I appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
Hey, we're credits due and all that. I mean, definitely. I was telling you guys, both Justin and Tracy, you guys deserve, all the views and all the, all these amazing compliments you're getting, because it is fantastic. The one thing that we didn't talk about that I actually tried to remember to talk about, I talked about the score, but that whole thing about putting us in a place where we feel the atmosphere, like we're almost there. The Follies were also really, really well put in there.
Thank you.
Again, it's something that kind of fades into the background. You watch it, you don't think about it. But when I watched it the second time, I'm like, oh yeah, nice touch there. Okay, I can see what they did there. Yep. So then, like the first time I watched it, maybe it was like watching it from film fan viewer's eyes, and the second time I watched it was more from a filmmaker, maybe writer, sort of direction. And it's like, yeah, this is just as good as I thought it was as a viewer. Now as a filmmaker, I can see all the little bits and pieces that that make viewers feel the way they feel from watching something. Because a lot of people love filmmakers like Spielberg and what's his name? The Avatar guy, Jesus.
James Cameron.
Oh, Cameron.
James Cameron.
Actually, I wasn't thinking of him. I was thinking about the other one.
Ridley Scott.
Nolan. I was thinking about Nolan.
Christopher Nolan.
Christopher Nolan and Spielberg. People like love them. I don't love them as much as most people because they overpower you with this stuff. You know, if it's the score, it tells you what to feel, when to feel, and it's almost stabbing me in the throat, telling me, I need you to cry here. I need you to feel this. Well, what you guys did here, it's all it's understated, and it gets the feels, out of me without pushing me too hard. And that's what I like. It lets me interpret the story and what you're trying to convey without actually, holding up a sign, cry here, be scared, feel for the guy. This is built now, but you know what I mean? So I'm not a fan of filmmakers and those guys, Spielberg, Nolan, amazing technicians, their films are top notch, but that part makes them drop down my list as far as favorites, films of all time and all of that. So you guys did really well in that. And that's what I'm saying. There's so many elements are fantastic about this that
thank you so much.
You guys really deserve everything for this. Yeah.
Okay. That now really back to my question. How did Joseph, how do you get the clothes to wave? What is your
and the smoke. Tell us how you did the smoke.
The smoke.
Yes.
That was because was that in this script specifically? And I don't want to spoil it, but it was. Because I remember specifically the embers were a big focus for me, right? I had that idea maybe they formed.
No, the embers were you.
Okay.
The embers were you. We had the smoke in there, but
right. Again, it's the same software that I'm using, but it's vector based. So I would draw out smoke, and then you just get to move the points around. The program just kind of does the interpolation. It does the rest, right? It finds the in-betweens. And then once I did that, I had to bring it to After Effects and just dump all these effects on top to make it look like smoke. You know what I mean? All wispy and cloudy. And that was the big part of it, was just adding those effects on top. Because if you see it without, they're just lines. It doesn't look as impressive, if that makes sense. But I was happy with how it turned out, because I was like, I can do this. But secretly, with most things, you kind of just take a stab at the dark, but you tell someone you can,
Right.
I'm like, oh yeah, I can do this. And then secretly, I'm like, how do I do this?
Crap, is there a YouTube video for this?
Right. How to do
That's perfect.
How do you make smoke on the computer?
Right.
So how do I make the jacket flap without yelling at it? Flap.
Sure. So it was a process, you know what I mean? Trying to figure out, and I did some sketches beforehand of what is it going to look like? Can I say faces? Is that too much? What are the faces?
Red alert. We'll
cut that part out. Yeah.
Tracy just took off. She's had
she was so mad I spoiled it. I'm sorry, Tracy. But yeah, I mean, it was, and with the cloth, I'll be honest, that's the program doing all the work, which is why I swear by this program. Because you can make your bones, and then there's literally a button that says wind physics, and the program just creates wind on your bones that you create.
That's pretty cool.
So what you're saying is you really did nothing, and we don't need you. It's just a program and pressing a button. Got it.
That's
I'm already YouTubing how to do this, Joseph.
Let me just write this down.
Oh, absolutely.
Get to a point where we just don't need you no more.
No. I painstakingly animated every cloth movement.
How much are you paying this guy again?
No, you do what you can, right, to get ahead with the work as much as possible. Because before this, I would do it, hand draw it, right, the cloth, and it would take forever. take forever to do it. And this way I'm like, wow, now I can focus on the stuff that really matters, right?
See, that's when you're
and that's the big thing
right there.
Yeah, exactly. Because that way it's, okay, yeah, so I took a few liberties, but that means
know thy software, know thy programs.
Yes, right.
I mean, yes. Right. I've been working on Photoshop for friggin' 20 years, man, and I still find shit, and I'm like, God, I can't believe I doing this for
like a caveman for
years. I just found some new stuff the other day, doing some real estate photography stuff that I've been doing. I went,
snap.
Nice.
Wait a minute, I've been. Oh shit. Okay.
Well, and especially now, I'm of the mindset that, like, if not that you're cutting corners, but you do. I mean, you have to cut corners that you can, because sometimes it doesn't matter. I think as artists, you get focused on, like, well, I made everything from scratch and I did it all myself. It's like, why are you going to literally reinvent the wheel? Why would you redraw the wheel if somebody else drew it for you? Right. Nobody's going to care, right? Like,
and that's when Weight of Guilt takes 2 years to do. I mean,
yes,
it's like go ahead.
I want to make another movie in my lifetime,
Exactly. I want to make more things. Let's hurry this up.
Well, as an artist,
how old am I again?
Right.
Well, as an artist, sometimes I've got to draw a tank and 6 machine guns,
and
all different.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I love tanks, damn your eyes. I don't love drawing them, though. It's a pain in the ass to draw them.
Yes.
And you have to use reference and stuff. And quite honestly, sometimes, I'll find a picture of a tank, throw that shit in Photoshop.
Yeah.
Bing, bing, bang, boom.
Copy and paste.
Yeah, I drew that. Of course I drew that.
Well, I did draw it, but what I didn't do is waste 5 hours trying to draw that shit in 3-point perspective.
Bingo.
Come on, man.
Well, a little secret for a tone. All of the buildings in the backdrop are all 3D models, because I hate drawing windows. It takes too much time to draw squares. You know what I mean?
Is that your cover photo then on your page?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's for So also the same 3D models used for that.
Gotcha.
Which that's another project. They're connected.
Oh, okay.
That's called Ghost of the Deadlands, and it's their companion pieces. But yeah, it was one of those things where I got 3D models of buildings. I took angles of them from different areas, lit them properly, and then put them in the backdrop. I put some lines over it so it feels like it mixes in, but then that was it. I was like, I'm done. Backgrounds took me a day and a half to do, and then it's on animation, right?
Yeah. Focus on the things that you need to focus on. So
absolutely.
That's awesome.
Todd, we would know all about that, in filmmaking, where people go, where did you shoot that? Shoot it? We just bought it. It's like just this insert shot. I'm like, I'm not going to go out and shoot that. I'm not flying to wherever.
You know what though? I mean, it's kind of one of those things though. I mean, when I shot my last feature, I did not want to have, because in the past, I just occasionally I belong to story blocks. Every once in a while, I'll go over there and I'll get, maybe a stock shot of a sunrise or something like that. But I get what you're saying, because this last time I was, I wanted to make sure that there wasn't, everything was stuff that we shot. The opening credit sequence shows all these paintings and all of this paint, paintbrushes and paint tubes and all this stuff. I wanted to make sure that everything that we did was ours. All of the drone shots are all ours. There's not one stick of stock footage in that whole movie. Everything was all.
You like to draw? Everything. Available on Tubi.
Yes, now available on Tubi. Thank you very much. But at the same time, it was. I understand what you're saying about your buildings. It's that got that done. Go focus on what's important. So
for sure.
So yeah.
Well, when I was in art school, There was this guy, he came from Italy, most amazing artist I'd ever met in my entire life. I mean, holy crap. You know, just an amazing, he's Alex Malave. He's over at Marvel DC, does Daredevil, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, so I was like, God, man, that's the best comic page I've ever seen in my life. Holy crap. You got the car and, you know, all these different angles and this and that. I was like, how did you do it, man? He was like, well, I went and I got a car magazine and I photocopied the cars that I needed and lightbox that shit. and
there you go.
Wow, that works. Okay. Because, you know, here I am a clown. I don't even know what the hell I'm doing. I'm trying to fucking 3-point perspective a car in each panel and this and that. I'm like, what the hell? He's like, you can either make comics or make money, dude. It's up to you.
Oh, there it is. And I think, too, it's like if there's something on the page, if there's something on the screen that's going to be original, you want to do that. Right. You know, I wouldn't find an asset for Bill Oberst Jr. I'd draw him from scratch. No. Mm-hmm. But if I needed, again, to do a building in the background, I'm like, nobody cares. It's a building.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a building. Exactly.
It's a building. Like,
well, I enjoy drawing figures and people and stuff. Cars, not so much.
Same.
Yeah. And machine guns with all their parts and
oh my God,
lines. And it's
not
like, dude,
fun.
Come on, man.
Well, if you go back and look at animation from, like Ralph Bashki, and is that how you say his name?
Yeah, he did a lot of that.
He did a lot of that stuff. I mean, if you look at Wizards,
Rotoscope,
all the rotoscoping stuff. They did the same thing in heavy metal, with a lot of the stuff. So, it's do what you got to do to get the product that you need, Well,
as long as you're not cheating and mm-hmm. being shitty about it,
right.
There's no shame in the game. I mean, everybody, oh, well, you're just tracing something. Well, there's a difference between something that's traced and something that looks like it's traced. You say, oh man, it takes talent to be able to trace a car and make it look right. Line weight, shading, perspective, all that, it's just as hard. Basically what you're doing is skipping the layout stage.
For sure.
Right. Exactly. Like they did with the Corvette in Heavy Metal. They just put it on. They just put it on a turntable.
Cool.
Yeah.
If it works, it works.
Yeah. Hey, Tracy, what is your background that brought you to the writing of the story? Do you
what do you mean?
Well,
like how did you start writing basically?
Writing in general?
Maybe script wise or
script wise,
filmmaking.
What brought you to that?
This was my first script.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of.
Wow.
Yeah. Justin helped me figure out how to break it down as far as to build tension in certain places and to let a beat happen in certain places to keep, but I've always written ever since I was a kid, and always little short stories, which I look back now and it's so embarrassing, but
I feel you there.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I kept them all, but I won't let anyone read them. And then I started writing for doing reviews and movie of the weeks for a site called crypticrock.com. And I was all I was doing there was just writing. And then this new site came up, pophorror.com, and I started writing kind of like for both of them. And then all of a sudden, all the powers that be have decided at the same time to just give up the ghost on it. They didn't want to do it anymore. So they asked me and Tori Danielle Romero, who's not related to George, if we wanted to take over. And we were like, sure. So I do all the editing, mostly the editing and stuff on that side. She hands out all the articles and screeners and stuff, and we both write a little bit, but I mean, it's not like it was before where I could just write all the time. So writing a movie review is very different from writing a story. A movie review is, you have to be very unbiased, and you can have an opinion, but you can't be like extreme in your opinion. You have to be sort of, so you don't really get to express yourself very much. So being able to write something that from my own head, after all that time of not really writing anything, so it was like up there, like cooking for so long, and suddenly it was like, I know what to say now, and it just came out.
I know what you mean about reviews. Like writing reviews is almost a different kind of creative writing, but it's still creative. Like you have to. You just can't say it sucked. And if you feel, say, strongly about a certain aspect, you have to try to tone it down, especially if it's negative, because you don't want to seem, like you don't want to trash anybody's work, because just completing a film is an accomplishment all on its own. So you kind of will try to help and promote other people. But you're still trying to say everything you want to say in a nice, creative, interesting way. But when you're writing your own story, it's just explosion of creativity. You just have to throw everything at the page, and just then structure it in a way that works, especially if it's for a script that will work as a film, because it needs, a beginning, a middle, and an end, and you need to take your audience on a ride and all of that. But the first thing you do is just like all of the ideas, you have to just sort of spew it onto the page. And it's a completely different thing. But I also know what you mean about, used to write a lot of reviews, and now it's just like there's no time for it, because it's basically like running the thing, what you do for pop horror and like I do it for my indie productions. And sometimes it's just like with everything that we do, I hardly have any time for reviews anymore. But yeah, reviews are interesting, but it's a completely different writing experience. So
because like writing a review, you have to not pander, but you have to like cater a little bit to the reviewer. I mean, not the reviewer, that's yourself. Yeah. To the person who made the film, and also to the person who's going to watch the film. You don't want to lean one way too much to one side, because you don't want to just say, oh, it was great, it was fantastic, to make the filmmaker happy, and then the person who goes to watch it because of your great review goes, oh, this is trash. But you also don't want to be like, oh, well, this is wrong with it, this is wrong with it, this is wrong with it. So the filmmaker's like, they feel terrible about what they made.
Like Siskel and Ebert.
Yeah. They were not constructive at all.
Well, writing reviews is hard. I wrote 2 reviews for Tracy, and I was like, that's it. Like, I can't be all those things, diplomatic and
it's more about being constructive, I think, than diplomatic. It's constructive criticism. Yeah.
You've got to be able to say, if you've got an issue with the film, you've got to be able to say, this was my issue, but offer some constructive, well, maybe you
highlight the positive. Yeah,
absolutely, always the positive. And I quite enjoyed writing the reviews, but it is I'm selfish. I like writing my own fictional stuff, but I did enjoy writing reviews, but it is hard. It's a tough road to hoe.
It is. And again, it doesn't, even though you write the review, you don't feel the same feeling as you do when you write your own, script or story. Yeah. This is just, one of them is like me as a writer, and this is me as an artist. And it's 2 kind of different things. So yeah. But I think Tracy, now that like you're saying, your first script, you're pretty much screwed, because now you're not going to be able to stop.
Yeah. Well, that's the point.
I wrote my first script, and after that I was done for, because all the ideas that are in my head, they have to come out, and if not,
yes.
I don't know what the nearest mental institution is, but that's where I'll end up if I don't write. So, yeah.
Well, it's therapy for all of us, writing, art, all
Absolutely.
this. It's so we don't duct tape chainsaws to our hands and go spinning through the streets because
killing deadites.
Oh, we're not supposed to do that?
It's frowned upon.
Yeah. Yeah. Gonna have to put
I was
those
wondering
away.
why I was getting all those weird looks on the street.
So, hey, Joseph, how did you get started with animation?
Oh, I've been doing it for about like 13 years now.
How old are you?
Yeah, I'm 25. So
what?
Wow.
Yeah, I was young when
just a baby.
I know.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Holy
my daughter is your age.
Oh, that's
because we're all in our 30s here.
Oh my god.
Yeah, our 30s.
57.
We're gonna find a way to steal your youth, Joseph.
Oh my god, please
going to suck it from your brain.
We'll just borrow it. We want to
all right, I'll give it to you on loan.
Okay, with that, how did you get
wow. No, for sure. So I was, of course, a young pup, and my next door neighbor gave me this software as a trial. He had a demo version of it, and he was like taking a course in school, and he was like, "Hey, I have this software. You want to check it out?" And I was, for some reason, I was just immediately like, "Yes, I want to animate. Like, I just want to make stories. That's always been the goal for me."
Right.
And so I just started messing around with it. And then a year later, my dad had a friend, because my dad also does like graphic designs, and he's into, he does pretty much the kind of work that I do, except he doesn't do the film, you know what I mean? But he does graphic related content. So he had a friend who did local commercials. And when this guy found out that I could animate, he was like, "You want to do commercials for me? And of course I'll pay you for it." And I was like, "Yes, please." I love money. That's where my love of money first started. No,
my love for money.
What are you doing? You're a storyteller? No, I grow my bank account.
I really enjoy money. But yeah, so I mean, for the next, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, I did that. I'd work on commercials, local commercials for this guy, and all the money I got for it, I would just put it back into getting better equipment,
smart,
getting better software and stuff. And then after that, it was, I never, like, I was always trying to make stuff, but I didn't take it super seriously until the past 3 or 4 years, which is wild, So I've been animating for a long time, but like doing it now where I'm just like, I'm making stories and it's going to take me this long. That's more of a recent thing, if you will, if that makes sense.
Cool. Cool. Yeah. And what about you, Justin? How'd you get into this crazy business where if we don't write our things down, we're going to wind up in mental institutions?
Well, that's precisely why I got started.
In a mental institute?
Keep me out of one. Wait, am I in one? No, it's a similar story. When I was young, I just loved drawing. My father was an artist, photographer, and painter. So I was blown away by that, and picked up the brush and pen and never looked back. I mean, I didn't get good until I went to school, though. It's raw talent.
You were practicing.
That's right. But I went to school, and one of my instructors, Joel Napperstack, he's an amazing painter. He was my instructor, and I went straight to him. I was like, "I need to do what you do." He's like, "All right, I will teach you, but you must do everything I say."
Wax off.
Yes, totally. It was like that, And
yes,
he
Mr.
painted.
Miyagi. I mean,
let me put it to you this way: this guy hand draws and paints all his cars. So it's like, wow. I mean, with the brush, he's one of those guys that can do that pinstripe down a car and this and that.
And you paint his fences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My pinstripes
down, down.
I always love that when he did that, man.
Always look at eye. Always look at eye.
But
or Bruce
he
Lee,
was
never take your eyes off your opponent, even when you bow.
Best block not to be there.
Yeah. Oh, you guys.
Okay, sorry.
We're venturing into racist parody here.
Yeah, Karate Kid is very racist.
We're not making fun. We're impersonating.
Paying homage.
Right? Yeah, right. But he was my Miyagi, you know. He taught me how to do everything, and it was really difficult learning actual painting on canvas. And when digital came along, it just, oh man, it sets you free, you know. Joseph knows.
Oh yeah.
It unlocks everything. I mean, you don't have to spend tons of money on materials, paint, canvas. You know, every time I moved somewhere, I had to have a studio, you know, and you got all this paint everywhere and all this stuff.
Ruins your clothes, gets on the carpet.
Now I've got a big giant tablet and that's it. You know, I mean, I got a bunch of crap in the garage that I still fool around with. I still like to paint and sculpt, but and like Joseph, yeah. Once you know, I switch it up. It keeps you sharp. But like Joseph, you know, I was a storyteller. I wanted to do stories, so I got into comic books, and I did comic books for a long time, and that's essentially filmmaking. That's essentially storyboarding, you know, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, I wanted to go more, but, you know, I'm not a filmmaker. I don't know anything about cameras, and I sure as hell ain't going to learn now. You know, that ship has sailed. That's why I have friends who know how to do that shit, friends who know how to animate, you know, and stuff like that. Right. And I was a writer too. I loved writing. So I started writing screenplays and comic book scripts and this and that. And just trying to find a way to put it out into the world. Like Itai was saying, you know,
right.
You got to get it out of there. You got to get it out of there.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that, you guys.
Yeah.
In the last probably going on decade now, you know, the technology has sort of caught up with everything, so it's made filmmaking more doable, cheaper, you know, for filmmakers to do, and that's I think why indie.
Yeah, believe me, I know.
Sort of crazy. Yeah. So, but before this conversation today, I actually never thought about it, you know, in animation terms, and it's very, very, very much along those lines. So it's sort of happened there as well. It's just very interesting to discuss because I never really thought about it. I mean, I'm not an animator, so
it's awesome. I mean, Blender is the program of choice. Have you ever heard of that? Open source 3D software, and it's free. Yeah. And it's
we actually used Blender.
Well, then there you go.
In Ivy.
Oh, okay.
If anyone remembers that peephole moment at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's still Blender. Fresh in my mind.
Well, it's definitely that's probably the one thing. I mean, yeah, at the same time, because of how inexpensive everything is to make films or to do animation now, and things, you know, people talk about oversaturation, but at the same time, you know, I grew up in the era of being 57 years old. I grew up in the era of going to get film, you know. I mean, when I was young and I was making animated films, which was some of the first things that I did, using my little Smurf figures and making them walk and all that. You know, you go down to Kmart and you get for $10.99, you're buying 3 minutes of Super 8 film. And then after you get that done, then you have to take that back over to Kmart, and you have to, when Kmart existed, and take that back to Kmart and have it developed, and you wait a week to 2 weeks for it to come back, and then you have your movie, and then you had your little movieola, and you edited your movie and whatnot. But then getting older, then you're trying to raise money. Now, raising money these days, is tough, but you don't have to raise necessarily as much as you would have. When I was shopping around this police drama that I wanted to do, you had to factor in how much film it was going to take, and how much, were you going to need 200-foot rolls? Were you going to need 500-foot rolls? And what kind of film were you going to shoot on? And what kind of camera were you going to use, and all this stuff. And that was, for me now, and since probably about 2006, 2007, with all of the advent of the digital stuff, and even like, why don't we say, the mini DV tapes, because that's where I started. And I get Joseph and Justin, what you guys are saying about being able to make it easier for you to create, because then it's like, and you get the digital cameras, and it's like an SD card, and come on, let's go shoot a movie. Let's go do it. So
awesome.
It's definitely, growing up, not really being able to do exactly what you wanted to do is now why I'm 57, and I'm, some people are like, wow, man, you waited a long time. It's like, no, I didn't wait a long time. I've been doing this. I've been doing this since I was 8. Okay.
It's catching up with me.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things that, to hear you guys talk about, the ease of being able to do things, I just like go, yes, I agree. Even though I grew up with all the other stuff, well,
you paid your
awesome.
dues,
Paid my dues and then some,
You have more of a respect for it now, right? Because of that.
Way more, yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people that really look down at technology, more so than not.
People who don't understand it.
Quentin Tarantino. He the whole idea of this whole digital thing is just, it's like, oh my, somebody was thinking that you could use a Canon camera to shoot video with. And I was like, how does that work? I'll never forget that. And so, I don't want to get too long-winded on that, but it was just, I just get the whole idea of the whole digital realm, and that people that look down on it, I guess, just either they don't get it, they don't want to get it, they don't understand it, or they don't want to understand it. But being able to shoot a movie or shoot something that you want to shoot whenever you want is huge.
Yeah.
Absolutely huge. I mean, you guys,
game changer.
Yeah, totally.
And with all the platforms now, you can put it up there.
It's like,
whether it's good or not.
Well, but that's the thing. I mean, we have a place now. And we're not dependent on distributors, and we're not dependent on
studio.
We're not dependent on the system anymore. We have created our own system, and we are doing what we want to do when we want to do it and how we want to do it. Whether it sucks or not, we still get to do it. And that to me is a big deal. So, for you guys, for all of you, it's a lot of respect from me for you guys diving in and not being afraid to get on that train and just say, you know what, screw it, man, I'm going full bore. We got the tools, let's do it.
Well, you said it right there. You got the tools. I mean, think about it. We got Bill Oberst on our thing. You know, we didn't have to fly him
Bill
in.
who?
BOJ, baby.
Papa.
We didn't have to fly him in. We didn't have to put him up in a hotel. You know, we didn't have to feed him. You know, give him a couple of bucks. Hey, man, can you do a quick recording? Sure, man.
Yeah. How did you guys get all the recordings done?
We sent him a script, and he has access to recording equipment and stuff. So
that's how he does his podcast. So
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, top quality audio recording, and had it to us right away, and it was gold, you know. And that was one of you were talking about earlier, one of the process. That was one of the first steps, you know, because you have to be able to build that animation around the especially when it's a lot of audio and dialogue like that. But I mean, you know, 10 years ago, we wouldn't have been able to do this. You know, there'd be no way. No. You'd have to get a video or video camera. I don't know what they call them now.
It's still a video camera.
It's still a video camera.
Yeah, not a tape recorder, no.
We'll say equipment that's wildly expensive, and people with the know-how, how to drive it, you know, and all this stuff. I mean, even just to put this little thing together, animated or not, would have been a massive act of Congress.
You're already looking at like 7 or 8 people just to get rolling.
Oh God, yeah. And then the logistics of that, the money, it's like, oh my God, 3 of us got together and put this together, and it's quality.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
No doubt. Yeah.
And you know, we didn't know if we could do it. Now we know.
You know.
Now you know.
Absolutely.
The more you know.
Yeah, right. But you know, that's encouraging for other filmmakers and stuff too, you know. And you want to talk about oversaturation, I'm not worried about it. I mean, with all these streaming platforms and stuff, they're desperate for content, even if they are playing gatekeeper with a lot of stuff, and trying to mill the same old kind of thing that Hollywood has erected. You know, they're still, but it'll crumble. It's falling. It already is. Theaters are dying. You know.
Yeah, somebody didn't believe me that when I said this probably almost 10 years ago, and I said in 10 years the movie theater is either going to be on their way out or they're going to be gone, and everybody laughed at me, and I went, okay, all right,
yep.
You know, I mean, and yes, there's some purists that are just like, no, everything has to come into movie theater. And I get that going to the movies was always kind of an event. But now for me anyway, because being dyslexic and going to the movies and having these people that won't shut up, that will not get off their phone.
Yep.
Those, I am very, I'm the guy in the theater that will yell. I mean,
shut up.
I will.
Damn right.
It's like, I didn't pay $25 to listen to your baby cry. You want to take it outside? I'm that guy.
Yeah, I'm right.
Sensitive.
Listen, I'm right there with you 100%.
Yeah, I agree.
The last movie I went to was Man of Steel, and this clown was on his phone the whole damn time, talking loud, you know, and finally I went down there and I was like, look, man, you got to knock this shit off. You know, come on, have some consideration for others. And you know what he said to me? He's like, well, I don't think you should be cursing in front of my wife. And I was like, if you don't turn your phone off, I'm going to cram it up your ass. I'm going to rip your arms off, and I'm going to beat you to death with them.
In front of your wife.
In front of your wife.
Because you're right. You know, going to the movies used to be an event. You know, people had respect. You'd shut the hell up. You know, you'd watch the movies.
Please silence your phones. Please do this. Please do that. And people did it. And now, you know, I went to see Ghostbusters Afterlife, and there was a front row of about 8 teenagers. And
oh my God.
It did not go well. It did not go well. My wife was like, oh my God, because they were taking selfies and all this stuff during the movie.
Wow.
I'm not gonna get into it, but I just said at that point, that is the last time I am going to the theater. And now, to me, again, and I've always said that, we can watch movies at home. I've got a beautiful surround sound system that my wife got me for Christmas 3 years ago. That is actually probably blows away the one that they have at the local Regal. Okay. So it's just, I'm not a theater person anymore. I don't care about theatrical distribution. We have oodles of places. Sorry, I spit. To get our stuff seen. So it's almost, again, there will be some purists that go, "Shut up, Todd, you're an asshole." That's
you
fine.
know what I say to
Tell
them?
me what you say.
You know what I say to the purists?
Yes, sir.
Can you pause the movie at Regal and go take a dump? Can you have a cold beer? Oh, I gotta wait, my pizza's almost done. 1 second.
Click. Pause.
You can't compete with that. You can have a drink something, you can smoke something, you can fart loudly, I mean, the theater needed to die.
I agree with some of the points made by purists about the theatrical viewing experience, because we experienced it when we were younger. I think what's changed is the audience.
The audience
I think
the problem.
Today, moviegoers and movie watchers, younger ones, newer generations, I think they have no respect for the filmmaking side of things anymore. They will talk through a movie. They will check their Instagram, Facebook while they're watching a movie. They will do all that shit. And to them, that's part of the experience. I don't understand it. They will miss half the movie, and it's like, somebody wrote the script for this. Somebody directed those actors. There's a ton of people who worked on that. They don't care. They missed the half of the story. They missed this. They missed that. For them, we saw the movie. I'm like, no, you didn't. And I see that even in some of my friends who are probably around my age who watch films like that now. They watch them, on the phone. I'm like, watch a movie on the phone. What the fuck? You can't see anything. It's not, you need a big enough screen. I'm not saying massive, but you need something big enough. Have some respect, is what I always say. But absolutely. I think the viewers today are different kind of viewers. They have no respect for that. I might be just a grumpy old man, but it's a different animal. So they will still go to the theater and watch movies the way they watch them. It's just that we will not. We will keep watching movies at home where there's nobody talking, there's no crying babies unless they're ours. But then again, at our age, you know what I mean? We can pause, we can go take a dump or get the popcorn or whatever. They actually walk out in the middle of a movie to go to the toilet at the cinema or to get popcorn or to get whatever. I would sit there busting to take a piss in the middle of a movie, and I would wait until the end because I don't want to miss anything.
Yep.
I remember as soon as the credits were over, I would, bolt to the toilets, and then I'm like, oh my God, that film was long.
Yeah.
But that's just the thing. I think we have lost touch with the new generation. But I don't want to have any touch with the new generation in that regard. I don't want to watch movies like that. I'm not going to disrespect other people's, creation. So it's different thing. I think there'll still be, theatrical releases, and they'll make their money on the young kids. And that's also why they make movies more stupid these days. That's why everything is Marvel and everything is this and everything is that, because the story doesn't matter. They can go out and come back and watch. They can talk through it, check out their Instagram. It doesn't matter because the movie doesn't rely on the story. Yeah, because the story is the same as the previous installment in the series. To me, they're all the same.
Well, everything's eye candy now.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that's the issue. It's not so much, what people like Scorsese, was talking about. This is not filmmaking, and it's just a joyride. It's just this. It's just that. It's just a different kind of thing. So I think there's no point comparing them anymore. There are movies that are made for cinemas. People will see them at the cinemas. We will go and start using streaming a lot more, I think, because it's just better for us, because we're not, young anymore, and we don't shit on films. We actually watch them to enjoy them. So I won't take out my phone in the middle of a movie at the cinema. I've never done that. But if I get a call, I just it's on vibrate. I just shut it down, and But other people do. It's just their thing.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end. I really, really want to thank our guests for coming on. Could you guys do us a favor and just let everybody know, go Justin and then Tracy and then Joseph, let everybody know how they could get in contact with you if they want to do that.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm at jwerboy, JWEREBOI. That's my Facebook. That's my TikTok. That's my Instagram. That's my Twitter. YouTube, Twitter, everything. That'll find you through the link tree, or Justin Bourne Boring on FaceTurd.
Okay. Tracy.
So I'm at like Justin. I have the same handle for everything, and it's I Sing You Sing. It's ICING YOUSING, kind of like I scream, you scream.
Gotcha.
So that's Twitter and email. So it's at gmail.com.
Okay.
Twitter and Instagram and Facebook is just good luck finding me, because there's more than one, believe it or not, Tracy Allen on Facebook.
What?
I know. So just look for the one that's friends with Justin Bourne Boring, because there's only one of him.
That's right.
All right, Joseph.
I think the easiest way to find me, because I've tried to get Joseph Danny Rodriguez on everything, that some people take that. It kind of sucks. But go to my website, josephdannyrodriguez.com. I do have links to all my social media on that. That would be the easiest way.
All right.
And you can check out my shorts. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And we'll have links connected in the description of some of Joseph's other projects. So if you guys want to view those, and Mr. Gruberman, did I call you Gruberman?
I answer to all of those.
Gooberman, if you could let everybody know how they could contact us.
Well, you can contact us on Facebook at our Straight Shooters page there, on mindyproductions.com. We are also on Instagram, which Todd is dealing with. What's the address there, Todd?
It is...
I always forget.
It is...
Because I'm old and I get confused easily.
Straight Shooters Show. At Straight Shooters Show. That's on Instagram.
So yeah, and of course you can hit me up personally and Todd on Facebook, Mindy Productions, Infinity Media Productions. We are there a lot of the time.
Too much.
Yeah, and of course the YouTube channel.
All right. Well, thanks again, everybody, for watching. Don't forget, once again, to like, comment, share, subscribe, and make sure you tell all your friends and your family and your aunts, your uncles, your moms, your dads, your dogs, your cats about the Straight Shooters Show. And we thank you all for joining us. Once again, thanks to our, wow, voice crack, had a Peter Brady moment. Thanks to our guests who joined us tonight.
Thank you, guys.
And make sure that you guys
awesome.
Watch Weight of Guilt. Again, the link will be in the description. And we will see you next time right here on the Straight Shooters Show.